Hi folks, I would have done a lot of videos on entertainment, reels and micro videos. Today I thought let's do something quite informative and quite handy, something where I work on, I can share my knowledge and experience about how the international payment transfer really works. So today we'll discuss something on Swift, Iban. I will also try to put some examples on the how the Swift messaging really works, and I'll try to bring in the concept of Nostro and Vostro. So coming to Swift and Iban. Swift and Iban, these two are widely used concept today in global international payment transfer. So what is Swift? Swift stands for Society for Worldwide Interbank Telecommunication. Okay, financial uh, uh, telecommunication. And Swift is actually a message. You are not actually transferring the money, when it's actually a message system that goes from one bank to the another bank, which is actually the sender's bank to the receiver's bank, saying that the message is going to come, and so and so are the transaction details that is associated with it. I'll come back with an example on that one. And for Swift, you always identify with the Swift code, or the other term is called as the bank identifier code. It's actually a 8 to 11 digit which actually identifies the branch, and the bank identifier code is associated with it. So when you give the Swift code, it identifies the bank. It identifies the bank to that belongs to the particular beneficiary to the whom the transaction has to be made. So we were talking about Swift, and Swift is usually how to denote the Swift code. It's usually a 8 to 11 digit code where you identify the bank details, address, and the big code is associated with the bank. Okay, and this, like I said, there are the Swift is usually designated by the MT, which is called the message type, and there are a series of message type that is starting from MT1 to MT9. The most commonly used Swift message system is MT103, which is actually the financial international transfer. MT103 initiated from the sender's bank to the receiver bank. Okay, and there are a series, or like you can also use MT 400 series, where it could be used for documentation. 7 series is all used for letter of credit and all that. So there is a series of MT message type that goes along with the that goes in the Swift over there. Okay, now cutting short, and then what is IBAN? Okay, what is IBAN and why it is different from the Swift? IBAN, the name, it stands for International Bank Account Number. So when I say International Bank Account Number, you are actually giving the beneficiary's account number in the transaction. So I'm going to make a transfer, and I will give the beneficiary's IBAN. The beneficiary's account number is the International Bank Account Number that is being shared in the particular transaction form, and it identifies the account number to where the transaction has to be made. Now these two, the IBAN and Swift, are widely used for international wire transfer. Now coming to the difference, like the Swift versus IBAN. Okay, like I would say that Swift is like globally recognized, and IBAN is mostly used when it is a SIPA, or some banks they use a combination of both IBAN as well as the Swift code. So Swift is actually, in terms of Swift, when you compare with IBAN, Swift is actually a faster in terms of speed, because they do not require a lot of information, and IBAN are actually cost effective, as they are mostly used in the bank transfer. But with IBAN, they also need like you provide the account number, but you also have to give the Benny detail. There is the foreign exchange rate, they come into play. The fees, who is going to be borne, if it is going to be borne by the sender, the receiver, or it can be shared. All this information come into play when you are trying to go with the IBAN. The Swift, more you just try to give the bank identifier code, less information, and it can be processed. SEPA will definitely require IBAN transfer, or definitely need that. For SEPA transfer, you definitely need the IBAN account number. Okay, so now we have covered what is the Swift versus the IBAN. Let's now probably I'll try to give an insight of how the Swift messaging system really works. Like I said, Swift is actually a messaging system that goes from one bank to the another bank, from the sender's bank to the receiver bank, saying that a payment is going to come up. It is not the actual fund transfer. It is just a communication where it is saying, okay, message payment is going to be initiated from person A to person B, and the so and so are the details of the transaction that is going to be associated with it. So, like I said, there are a series of empty message type, which called the empty is actually empty, and the message is like empty triple X, where it comes as a number. It could be empty 101, it could be empty 103, it could be empty 7 series, empty 9 series. The widely used today is mostly on the empty 103 and empty 202, which is actually a cover operation, which is actually a cover message for the 103. Now let's take an example of how the Swift message really works, and MT103. I'm trying to bring an example of MT103, and I'll also put into a picture of the Nostro and Vostro. Suppose a person called Jack, who is having an account there in US in Wells Fargo, and wants to transfer to here a person called Ram, who is having an account with ICICI. So how the transfer really work from okay, and so this Citibank, I would try to put a concept over here called relationship. The Citibank and ICICI, they have a relationship, which means they have an account with each other, which is Citibank is also holding an Axis Bank account, and Axis Bank account is ICICI Bank account, and ICICI Bank account is also owning the Citibank. Now, when I say this account, this concept is called the Nostro and Vostro, which means Nostro is actually a Latin word, which means which means ours, and Vostro is actually a Latin word which means yours. So when I say Citibank is actually transferring money to ICICI Bank, which means Citibank is actually transferring to its Nostro account of ICICI. That is, ICICI, it is trying to say our account is with you. When the term Nostro is coming into place, it's actually ours. Our account is with you. So I am transferring to my account that is situated in your currency, in your country, in your currency. Say for example, if we put it in the reverse way, ICICI is having a Nostro account with Wells Fargo in the US, means for a transaction to be made in dollars, it should have a Nostro account that is there in the local country and the local currency. Similarly, for the reverse way, how it is going to happen is, because ICICI Bank is holding an account, what this with Wells Fargo, what the reverse concept of Nostro is Vostro. What is the Vostro? So Wells Fargo is okay. When Nostro is saying our account is there, Vostro is okay, your account is with us. So the transfer, like for Swift, it is actually the message that is going, but the transfer of the funds really happened between the Nostro and so it is like one Nostro account is probably being debited and it's credited to the Vostro account. This is how the transaction really happens. The MT is not going to the Swift is really just a message. The transfer is actually happening, or the fund transfer is really happening between the Nostro and the corresponding Vostro. Now, when I took the example of this Jack sending an account to Ram over here in India, so how it that happen? And I'll try to bring this picture of MT103 and also try to put in a concept of MT202 also. So how this really works into place. So now Jack wants to send $1,000 here to Ram over here in India. So what he will do? So Jack, he will instruct his bank, he will instruct his Wells Fargo bank that you debit my account and you have to credit it to this fellow's Ram's account, who is having an account with ICICI Bank. So what is that? There will be a MT101, which means it's actually a instruction to debit his account. It's actually a debit is a customer account information, which is saying that you debit my account and you credit over here. So MT101 is actually, it is going to this fellow's account, who is this Jack's account. Now what is happening after all the checks have been happened? So what is happened? 1,000 rupees is debited from Jack's account, and now it is with the Wells Fargo. Now, because I brought in the concept of Nostro and Vostro, what is happening is, and I like to bring into picture a concept of direct relationship. That is, both Wells Fargo and ICICI, they have a direct, because the Wells Fargo is holding an account with Axis and ICICI, and ICICI is holding an account with Citi. So what happens is, once the money 1,000 rupees is debited from Jack's account, it is going to come to Citibank, and from Citibank it is going to be credited into Citibank's Nostro account, that is with the Axis, that is with the ICICI. So the 1,000 rupees debited from the Jack's account is going to sit into the Nostro account that Citibank holds with the ICICI. Now this this thing is there, the payment association with the Citibank is over. Citibank is going to send a MT103 to now the ICICI Bank of Ram, saying that okay, now I am going to send the MT103 saying that a payment of 1,000 rupees is going to come from Jack to to this bank, and you have to credit that amount to Ram. Now MT103 will be flowing from this particular Citibank to Axis, and for that what has happened, because now the 1,000 rupees was debited from Jack's account and it is now credited into this particular Nostro account of Jack. So from 1,000 account, now it will go, this 1,000 account will now be debited from the Nostro account, and it will be credited into the Vostro account, which means into the Axis. So it is going to say to Axis, saying that okay, I am going to send the money to you, you debit to your account later and give it to this one. So 1,000 rupees debited from the Nostro account, and now it is credited into the Vostro account. So once the payment information of Citibank is coming, and then it is coming to the ICICI Bank, what ICICI Bank is going to do, it will finally debit this Vostro account, because when I said Vostro means your account is with me. ICICI Bank is saying okay, your account is with me, I am going to debit that 1,000 and I am going to credit to this fellow. I'm going to credit to Ram. So the Vostro account is now debited 1,000, and eventually it is been credited to Ram. Now this is a small example. This is actually a small example how the MT103 transfer is happening, and they are having a direct relationship. But to widely used today is the concept where you also bring into picture of they don't have a directly relationship, and you try to bring into picture of the corresponding institutions and all. So what is happening is, suppose a person over here in Japan and want to send a money to person in Spain. Okay, some bank, but they don't have a direct relationship. So how do they make the international wire transfer? For this, the concept of corresponding institutions will come into play, and it is covered through the 202. Now, because they, like in a previous example, when I said that okay, Citibank and ICICI, they have a direct relationship, and you can straightforward do the message transfer. Now here, because they are in Japan and the another is in Spain, they don't have a direct relationship. They have to catch hold of an account which is having a relationship, and they are trading in dollars. So now, because it is in Japan and another one is in Spain, so they have to find a corresponding account which is having a relationship between the sender and the senders association. Senders bank is in Japan, and receivers bank is in Spain. So they both get into a transaction, but they will have to find hold of a corresponding bank which is common to trade the currency in dollars. So Japan will make use of, say for the sender in Japan will trade a transaction to Citibank, because Citibank and Japan bank have a direct relationship, so they get into a transaction. So now the money is been credited into the Nostro account of that Japan, which is actually the Citibank, and then the Citibank, because now, and for the receiver, say for example Wells Fargo is actually their corresponding bank account, so the Citibank and Wells Fargo, they get into a transaction, their dollars are being traded, and once the money comes into the receiver's correspondent, which is actually the Wells Fargo, from Wells Fargo it will come eventually into this particular receiver's bank, which is actually located in the Spain.